Greetings, friends and fellow rebels, and welcome to the lake. Today, I want to talk a little bit about our connection to Source and how it manifests, and the difference in how it might manifest for somebody like me versus someone who is involved in a different spiritual discipline. Specifically, I want to talk about those who are involved in the Christian spiritual discipline because that one seems to be enjoying a revival with folks. Now, I want to delve back into my past and into my activities within the Christian sphere. When I was much younger, much younger, and I was looking for a connection with spirit, I investigated um, Christian mysticism because within my particular um, society, Christianity is considered to be the main source of spirituality. Now, there is a practice with Christianity that occurred a lot within the last part of the last century, where you could reach out to Source through the vehicle of the divine spirit, the divinity, within, well, what the Christians consider their savior, their the personification, the identity, the human who held that divine force for their belief, for their system, which is Jesus. You could reach out to Jesus, you could make a spiritual contact and invite that entity, that person, to interface with you directly, to bring the blessings of Source, of the divine force, into your life, to you and into your life. Create a personal relationship. Now, this flies in the face of some of the much older ways of worship in which the priest is the only person who can do that. I think newer forms of Christianity broke away from that because they wanted to establish their own relationship with the divine intermediary. I noticed that people who chose to walk this course, who chose that divine interface through Jesus, through their Savior, through the one who has been designated as a teacher and an assistant for them. I noticed that those who experienced that had immediate shift in their spiritual energy, an upward shift where they could pull in Source better, easier, stronger, faster. And those who, up to that point, had not lived very spiritual lives and with a spiritual focus, they were able to completely reorient themselves into a much better framework. And that's all good. In fact, that's what gods and goddesses ideally gift us, a closer relationship with Source when our own society and our own experiences estrange us from that. Indeed, Source is it's the fabric of life. The divine is the fabric of life. But we've been taught that we are apart from it, that it's not a part of us. And what I noticed with those who established a relationship with the Christ is able to interface with Source in that way, in an understandable way, where there was a personage who could walk with them, who could help them understand spirit, how to work with it, when they had that sort of mentorship, they surged forward. However, churches are not really designed to allow us to be sovereign selves. Ideally, they bring people together to pool their spiritual energy to make good things happen for themselves and for their community. Because when you share energy, it becomes exponentially more. But because of how our world has been dominated by that which seeks to subdue us, our bigger organizations, after being established and strengthened, tend to attract predators who undermine the best of what it is designed to do. And for the most part, the people that I saw who took an immediate spiritual advantage to gifting their life, to pledging themselves to Christ, over time, that bond was tested. And because the church, who often was the very vehicle to bring them into alignment with the Christ energy, was also the vehicle that pulled them away from it. Because it seeks control. And it gets that through cognitive dissonance, through demonstrating, telling you things that don't line up, that don't feel right, that don't make logical sense and don't feel right. Taking control back from spirit. Very often, the advantage of taking on a spiritual mentor, such as Jesus, such as the Christ, it wasn't as lasting as it could have been. And the push was often to get people into deeper and deeper into the organization so that they're so vested that when the corruption within the organization presents itself, they feel they can't step away because they've already given up so much. They've already given their word. They've already involved themselves. They've already connected themselves. So it's too late. Ultimately, regardless of which personification of source that you choose to pursue, spirit is within you. Ultimately, you have to be the one to decide, and you have to be the one who holds sovereignty over all else, whether it be your family, your nation, or your church. Only by taking your sovereignty can you secure yourself from any corruption that could occur. You have to take responsibility, and you have to follow what's within you. And you know what's within you, because in between each lifetime that you've lived, you've touched source. You've been encompassed by it. You remember. And soon, that memory is going to come back to you. You'll remember it in the here and now. And all of this will become easier. But until then, remember, sovereign soul. Choose a mentor, choose it wisely, if you like. One that will help you, one that will help us. But at the core of it, you're a sovereign soul. There's nothing between you and the divine force. As a human, it's your birthright. And welcome to the lake.